Imagine this. What if God suddenly appeared in the sky tonight, speaking so loudly that every human on earth heard his voice? But here's the shocking question. What if that would actually destroy the very thing God wants most from you? Stay with me, because the answer might completely change how you see the world. 2,000 years ago, a man named Paul walked into the city of Athens. Everywhere he looked, there were temples, statues, idols. But then he saw something fascinating, an altar with a strange inscription. He saw an altar with an inscription that said, "This is to the unknown God." Paul said something that explains one of the greatest mysteries in human history. What Paul said reveals something shocking about how God designed the world. Listen carefully to what Paul said. "Men of Athens, I perceive that in all things you are very religious. For as I was passing through, I found an altar with this inscription, 'To the unknown God. Therefore, the one whom you worship without knowing, him I proclaim to you.'" Then he said that God determined man's pre-appointed times and the boundaries of their dwellings, so that they should seek the Lord in the hope that they might grope for him and find him, though he is not far from each one of us. Did you catch that? Paul said that God is not far from each one of us. You see, Paul is describing a strategic balance with God and man. Think about this apparent balance he is describing here. He says God is not far away, and that God is also not overwhelming us with his presence. Why? Why this careful balance? Philosophers have a fascinating word to describe this balance. They call it an epistemic distance. Epistemic simply means knowledge. It refers to the distance between what we know and what is revealed. Now here's the key idea. God is not distant in space because God is everywhere. Instead, he maintains a cognitive distance, meaning God reveals enough evidence to find him, but not so much that belief becomes forced. Philosopher John Hick argued that this distance is necessary because if God stood physically in front of us every day, would love for God be a free decision, or would it simply be fear of overwhelming power? Philosopher Dr. Thomas B. Warren explained something remarkable. He described the world as a place designed for soul making, a place where human character develops. Think about the environment we live in. But if God removed all uncertainty, if his presence were as obvious as the sun in the sky, then faith wouldn't exist. Belief would simply be coerced by overwhelming evidence. Here is the balance. God provides enough evidence for those who seek him, but not so much evidence that belief becomes unavoidable. Think about it. The order of the universe, the complexity of life, human conscience, moral awareness. Clues are everywhere, but they still allow you to choose. So here is the real question. If God placed you exactly where you are, if he placed you in this exact moment of history, and if he created a world where you can freely choose, then the question isn't why doesn't God reveal himself? The real question is, will you seek him or ignore the clues? But here's something fascinating. Some scientists and philosophers now argue that the universe itself is designed for discovery. They argue the universe itself invites human inquiry into its vastness and intelligent design. And in the next video, we'll explore 5 clues hidden in the universe that point to a creator.